your selectiveness, that's a level of maturity that you gain through years of experience.
If you weren't even doing that good, if you built that connection and trust, people are more likely to work with you.
Yeah. The brand of the company is important, it's just not the priority compared to your personal brand, at least in my opinion.
You have to sell them a vision, but yet you need to build a connection. This is a collaboration. And like, if we're not working together to both be able to give the results, then you're not gonna show up 100%. I'm not gonna show up 100%. And this both is not gonna work.
Hey Bianca, welcome to the Blueprint. What we do in the Blueprint, Bianca, is we want to just hopefully provide value to at least one person watching this. You've done a tremendous job in your field at a really young age, and I'm eager to know and to learn more from what your journey's been like. So why don't we do this? Kind of walk me first through your upbringing really quick, and then we'll kind of just from there roll into your professional journey and how you've gotten so far.
Yeah, well, within my upbringing, I've like been born and raised in Texas, so that was like mostly all my life there. Family's all Hispanic, and with me getting into the media, it was actually not something that I had planned on. It was actually something that I just grew on. Yeah. So I built a following that was something that caught attention. And I was traveling around a lot for it. And then from there, I wasn't really expecting any of it. I was just, a college student, and I was not really thinking within.
So we're going to unpack all of that. So let's start with Texas. Yeah. Do you still live in Texas?
No, so I'm based in Florida now.
You're based in Florida. And do you mind sharing how old you are?
Yeah, 24.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You say you started creating content. So before we get to that, you mentioned college. Did you finish school? What did you go to school for? Or where did you go to school?
Yeah, I did finish school. Regardless of, I was doing entrepreneurship the whole entire time. So I was building businesses, going to networking events, talking to so many different individuals while I was in college. Did I care for my college? I did not.
Okay.
It was only for a reason for kind of my family's sake.
Yeah. What was your major?
Marketing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, go figure.
Interesting. And what made you choose marketing as a major? Did you always have a passion since high school did you know you were going to do this, or?
No, actually, I was just had no idea.
You didn't know what to pick?
I didn't know what to pick. I did business administration first, and I still was I don't know. Financing doesn't really sound very pleasing, and marketing seemed like it was definitely creative and also a bit of structure. So gotcha. I thought marketing was going to be the best bet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned you were trying to build businesses or networking throughout college. Can you elaborate on what you were doing while you were going to school?
Yeah. So when I've probably done around 4 failed businesses before this one. So it wasn't anything where, it was my first hit wonder. Yeah. So when I first started out, I was doing the very beginning, I did a drop shipping. First was Etsy store. So I did a digital products. So I was doing these digital products while I was building my account. I built my account and I knew how to gain attention, but then I was all right, I want to start doing some businesses. Got it. How did that happen was because I decided to create my own merch for a bit, and I worked with a company. And so when I worked with that company, we were working for 6 months, and then right when we launched it, we had people from my community purchasing it, and then they ghosted me. I didn't make any profit. I didn't get anything, and they took everything.
So they were moving the merch for you?
They were just manufacturing it and basically helping facilitate it. And at that time I was young. I didn't really know.
That makes sense.
And so they basically just took everything. And from that moment was the realization, I need to know the business before and get into collaborations with individuals. Yeah. But I had to know the fundamentals of business. And that's whenever I started an Etsy store. And then I did drop shipping. I did multiple different products.
What was your experience there?
For drop shipping?
Yeah.
It was good. So I did get traction within it. And the only thing that I hated was, so somebody would just hate the product. I didn't take care of it. It was from China.
Yeah, it's out of your control.
It was out of my control. And for me, I didn't want to sell something that was out of my control, that I could be able to make it a great product.
Yeah. You're always one bad review away from being screwed.
Exactly.
If you're not, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I did drop shipping too, but I didn't last that long. It's my first time ever running ads, and I couldn't find a product that worked, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going back to selling insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I did an ad agency. And so that was like my last one. And the reason why I got out of that ad agency, a lot more technical, but then it came to the point where these businesses would have the worst messaging. They didn't even know what their offer was. They had no idea how to be able to get like their own market to buy from them. And that's where it came to the point where it was like, okay, this is before ads, we really need to understand the messaging. What is that lever that's going to help them go from actually getting the growth and lead gen? And then that's whenever I positioned myself back into the organic side.
For sure. And what do you attribute maybe, because not necessarily just an ad agency, but obviously would engage, we take on clients. And something that I'm very adamant about is not taking on a client that's not there yet. But as a new business owner, obviously you're looking for business. You think maybe inexperience also played a part in getting with people that, to your point, they don't know their offer, they don't have the budget, they're just not there yet. I mean, if you can get organic sales, your paid might not make that much of a difference in the first place. Think experience played a part in that, or like in you feeling that way, or dealing with clients that weren't necessarily because correct me if I understood wrong here, but the clients you dealt with, you were dealing with people that don't know their offer.
Yeah.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, just making sure I heard you correct. Remember, I got a text in the middle. So, and you might have never thought about this. So I'll tell you, I'll rephrase. I won't even ask the question. I'll just tell you my perspective. When I have interviews here all the time, or not interviews, they interview us for us to become their ad agency or their marketing agency. And I mean this, I don't want 80% of the business that walks through our doors. And it's easy for us to say that because our situation is a little bit different. Even though we are technically a startup, we have established clients. We had established clients coming into this, one of them being Level Up, which, obviously spends a lot of money in marketing. So we could be more selective. And I don't know if when you're new, you have the luxury of being selective. But if you're not selective, then you almost kind of get burnt out because you're dealing with a bunch of BS. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me, I'm very selective. Yeah. And I think it's very important because I rather build a reputation within clients that I can give true success than just kind of gaining through it. And so my process of selection is why, especially in organic, the one thing that I ask is, why are you so special?
Yeah.
Why should people listen to you and not someone else?
Yeah.
That's the question that I ask, like on a sales call. And so they kind of like tell me a little bit where they're like, oh, because I went through this and through this. And then that makes me understand, all right, they have a story. They're actually genuine. Or, they can actually connect with other individuals.
You could do your job, basically,
There's some people who, especially I've declined, especially insurance agents that was like, okay, I just need to I need to get my my leads and everything. And I was like, I don't really care. Just it's like, I'm just doing this, whatever.
Just because it's what I'm supposed to do.
They're like young, boys. I feel like they're just...
Yeah, it's a level of naiveness almost, of thinking that it's just do something and it works.
Yeah.
I do think, and I would just, I'd always argue that your selectiveness, that's a level of maturity that you gain through years of experience, you know what I mean? Because for how young you are, you've started 4 different companies, and this company now that we'll get to more in detail seems to be very successful. And if you would have felt in the other 3, I guarantee you would not be doing this good with your current company. Which brings me to, before we talk about exactly what you do, which I know because for the record, I'm a client of hers. That's how we got here. How did you get so good at understanding social media? I know you said you did it yourself, but was it trial and error? How did you learn to do the things that you do today in social media?
Number one thing is you have to be passionate in what you do. Because for me, the reason that I kind of moved the lever, why I like doing this, was one, I built multiple accounts going viral.
Okay. So
I've learned, because during that time that I did all those businesses, I was still doing content creation and still in school. Yeah. So I was doing multiple things. And during that time that I was doing content creation, I was building my account and I was building other accounts. I made them go viral. I made them get traction. And then I realized it's when I would offer my products or what I was selling, I would hear like zero. Like I wouldn't hear anything. No one was wanting to buy.
Yeah.
No one cared to buy. So when you have like over 1 million followers, over 500,000 followers, over like different accounts. I had one account that totaled 30K. I sold this offer and I was trying to sell it. Zip. There was a couple people, but I was like, what the heck? It was frustrating. And then I started to realize it doesn't matter about getting on every trend or whatever. More importantly, as the whole marketing, because people use that as their whole marketing.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And so then I had to hyperanalyze within, okay, what is the moving lever to actually get people to buy through content? And that's the psychology of sales, but in short form content, you know? And so this is where I dissected it. I've educated myself. I spend a lot of money on education resources, done it myself. I've launched products myself. I've done coaching. I've done digital products with like my social media. So like teaching this,
Right.
this is not, I've been doing this for the past 2 years. In the mix of it, I sold a digital product of like helping people with content creation. Okay, one failed. All right, let's go to the next.
Right.
Second, I did a community, a course. I spent the whole time building out a course and then I launched it to realize people didn't really wanted the offer because I was so perfectionist on making the course so good that I didn't even realize, does the market actually want this?
Right.
So this is why I learned from that.
Yeah.
And then
Experiences. That makes sense.
it's so much of like experiences of like you have to be able to go through it, and then also within helping other individuals. So I did a lot of coaching, and so through that coaching I did multiple different niches, and that's where I was able to like trial and error with it. And I have to tell you, you can learn it 2 years ago, and if you don't learn anything new or relevant now, you're behind.
Yep.
Because the thing about media and marketing is that it's always changing.
And quick.
So if someone says they know entirely about it, they don't. Like if they had like their one hit success, if somebody says, oh, I had my success before, okay, cool, but what have you done now? And I think that's really important to like emphasize because the market's always changing. The involvement in social media is always changing. So it's always having to be consistent.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. All right. You know, something that stood out to me is I think a lot of people would, I know a lot of people would consider those failures of your digital products. If you creating a course, perfecting it, and then realizing you made a perfect course for nobody because nobody actually cared for the course. Mm-hmm. It's not that the course sucks. It's just you've got to have a market to move a product. I think supply and demand, right? It's the foundation of every business. Mm-hmm. If there's no demand, the supply is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. And but rather than taking those failures as a sign to quit, you took them as lessons, and you've been able to kind of turn those lessons into a whole business that you own today. So that being said, walk me through exactly what it is you do for your clients right now, what type of clients you work with, almost like in a nutshell, what your business today is. Because I think a lot of people talk about social media and it's such a vast and like deep world that it's hard even for me at times until I got to know you a little bit more, obviously working with you, to understand exactly what it is you did. And I think it's good not just for the audiences watching, but even for you to get your stuff out there for people to understand exactly what it is you do. And so floor is yours. Walk me through this.
Yeah. So the main objection of how I go through this is the value ladder. It's always important, and like, you know, Alex Hormozi, he even talks about the value ladder. So it's never just one offer that I present, but it gives them multiple different offers for different solutions for individuals, because everything in social media has different stages of where you're at. So I have the do it yourself, which is more of the course. And so the course is basically a breakdown of like all of the education materials that I like teach on. It's on a school community and so forth. After that, it goes to coaching and mentorship. So this is where I'm basically hands-on. I understand within what you're going through and give you more personalized feedback, so you're not dealing with the trial and error. Then when it comes to the done for you, where we do it all for you. So if somebody doesn't want to be able to really understand themselves, but they just want to get it done, like with content creation, because it's already hard enough to do it yourself.
Right.
No one really has the time and patience to do it. So that's where the done for you happens. And we take care of everything from scripting, from research, from recording, editing, and uploading, where you don't have to lift a finger, but only answer the book's calls.
Right.
So we really do help on mostly all business owners on this case, and some creators, obviously. We've helped on that because, they facilitate businesses. Nowadays, building a personal brand is not just, being like an influencer type of way. Everyone is building businesses.
For sure.
Because when you have the demand, if you're able to grow an account and have demand of people who wanting to know more about you, you can make anything.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the difference, especially for small business owners, because I think the old way of thinking is always like the name of the company and the page for the company and the website and the brand of the company as a whole. But we're seeing more and more personal brands becoming that much more important. In your opinion, what is, I guess, the difference and the importance of building a personal brand versus the brand of the company or of the business itself?
Oh, it makes a huge difference. I don't work with businesses. I work with the business owners because that is the best ROI. Like, I know specifically for the trial and error, no matter what, Alex Hormozi has acquisition, but people follow him for his personal account. Like, Kim Kardashian has Skims, but people know Kim Kardashian. Like, it's really important because then you are basically putting a face with the brand. And the thing is, nowadays, it's all about connections. And so that is the way, especially even on for our organization, Tampa Entrepreneurs, it's like we facilitate connections. That's how people get invested and involved and exchange money, energy to you because they're invested in you. And I have to be selective, and for anyone, if you're trying to put your face behind, I literally say faceless accounts, I won't work with you. Or don't do that. Because the thing is that you have to sell them a vision, but yet you need to build a connection with the other viewer. And nowadays in social media, no one feels like they have a lot of trust towards anyone without a story, without some sort of personal connection. So it's imperative for a business owner to be online. This is why, we can pull up the viral content for all these startup business owners. They're talking about the day in the life of building my own business, or I'm starting up my own coffee shop. Here's the process of it going. And those are getting millions of views.
Right.
So it's not fluff. This is
actual real stuff,
It is going on, and people just don't take advantage of it.
Why do you think that is?
It's this, there's multiple ways, but it could either be, judgment, fear of judgment. They fear that they will be perceived differently or, be made fun of type of deal.
I agree.
2, not knowing. They're not acknowledged. They don't know how to start because individuals want to overthink on, I have to do it this way or this way.
It needs to be perfect,
Yeah. I think maybe those are the 2 that I would say was the main, objections for people. And 3 is just maybe because the market, they're oh no, I only run ads.
Yeah.
They're, especially for older.
It still ties back. I mean, but I get the argument,
Yeah, because it's more of they're used to their old ways, or they're used to what has been known before, because social media is still very new, and it's not a way of marketing as it it used to be.
Yeah, people would look at it as a gimmick almost rather than an actual business tool.
Yep.
I agree, and I also think, and Bianca, this is obviously my humble input compared to your knowledge on the subject, but you look at some other companies that have really big, brand names, they've been around for 20, 30 years. You look at some of these guys you dropped earlier, like someone like Alex Hormozi, who, he's my age, I think, 33, 34. And he's been in business for 10 years, but he's been known for half of that. So it took him 5 years to build what probably takes some other people 30 years. I actually made a video about this once. I can probably, if I wanted to start an energy drink tomorrow, that's what the video was about. There's no way I'm going to compete with Red Bull. Red Bull's been around for a long time and they have a very strong presence. But if I start branding myself, and then it makes it about me and people want to work with me, and now because they like me, because they like the value that I provide, because I'm in their face all the time, Not the energy drink I created, not Joseph's energy drink, but me as an entrepreneur, business owner, creative energy drink person, they're going to be more inclined to just testing the drink out. And obviously, if you have a good product, the product's going to sell itself, but getting it out there. And that's my vision behind, my reasoning behind prioritizing my personal brand over even the company is that I'm like, I can't compete with insurance agencies that have been around for 25 years. I'm just not. I've been around for 5. So I got to make you like me because my company is just the next insurance agency down the street, but there's only one me. And if I can manage to show you that I'm honest, that I'm authentic, that I mean what I say, you're more likely to consider working with me that if I was just talking about how good my company is, or not even me talking, but just having a nice website and organic Canva templates on
I see
social
that way
media page.
too often in insurance agencies.
Yeah, literally, I see that all the time too.
Oh my
So
God!
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I went there, and now, unlike you, I don't have the knowledge or like even the understanding. I kind of stumbled into that because I realized what I just told you. I realized like 2 years in, I'm like, the company I was working with in the beginning, everybody loved them for 6 months, and then they hated them after. I'm like, this is way too volatile. I need to just make people like me. And that was almost like the beginning of it. And obviously you go evolving, and then, I mean, people like you that can actually like kind of guide me in the right direction, but you're spot on. That's why I love your business, because I think the market is fucking insane. It's also like the way businesses are changing. I don't foresee companies like Coca-Cola being born today that in 30 years everybody's talking about household names. It's all about personal brand now. And yeah, it's insane.
It's like Logan Paul will literally just do like, he'll do a Prime, branded drink, or he'll do like I think it was a perfume or a kind of cologne spray. He just like made that, and
but because it's him, he built the brand. I mean, and we argue that old people are like that, but like I've given this example to people, because believe it or not, there's still people even younger than me that are like on the company name being good and blah, and it is important. Make no mistake, like the brand of the company is important. It's just not the priority compared to your personal brand, at least in my opinion. But I had a girl that works with us, and she was really stuck on the name of the agency she wanted to name. And she was like, because you love Level Up, and then you put like, I was like, I used the Warren Buffett and Mark Cuban example. We just are older. Well, Warren Buffett's really old, but let's Mark Cuban for example. I said to the Dallas Mavericks, do you know what company Mark Cuban owns? You cannot tell me. He owns 1 million businesses, but Mark Cuban walks into this door right now, and if he wants to do a business with you, you're gonna hear him out. You're probably gonna do it because he built a brand. Because that's what I aspire to be. At least when I look at like people that I like. He's been pissing me off with all the politics shit, but besides the point is, even people that have been in business for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, Warren Buffett, outside of Coca-Cola, tell me a company that he owns. I mean, if you're like a Warren Buffett junkie, you probably know, but the average Joe is not going to know, but they know them. Obviously, they built their brand differently to different avenues because they were going to magazines and newspapers 30 years ago, but same concept. So even then, I don't think personal brand is new. I just think it's become far more accessible because of social media, because anybody could just pick up a phone and record. But it's been around for years. And if you look at the top like business people in the world, especially in business, they all have a personal brand. And it's not because of other companies, it's because of them.
Yeah.
Oh, mic drop.
Yeah.
All right. You said something that I want to cover. You have a kind of networking entity event thing that you do in Tampa. Can you talk about that a little bit, where the idea came from and how you managed to put it together? I don't think that's easy, and what it is.
Yeah. So also as well, outside of the, content creation agency that we have been able to do, also run within Tampa Entrepreneurs. So it actually was founded by these 2 guys, or actually 4 guys that they were able to create. They wanted to build an organization that basically you didn't have to pay $10,000 to go to a seminar to then be sold another thing to be able to get upsell. And you couldn't find those connections and be able to have real business, conversations and a community like that. You had to pay for it. So that's where that had become with the idea of it. At that time, I actually wasn't even in Florida. And when I came to Florida, I met with one of the founders there, and that was just more, they only had their first 2 events. They had 100 individuals show up to their first event. That was like the very beginning, I think less than 100. And then the second event, I went to it because at that time when I moved to Florida, I was just hungry, trying to make some connections and get people. Yep. And so that's where it facilitated. And I basically asked to be with like a part of this, what they were building. And from there, each and every event, we've been for about 2.5 years now. And our last event, which was basically it was in Shelter, the airplane hangar, and we had over 1,200 individuals show up.
Wow.
So the best way that we've been able to do that is that none of us get paid. We all do it for free because we all have our own businesses. We're all entrepreneurs. We all and we made everything free for a reason, because what people expect, and this can even be tied down to branding, personal branding, it's like you take the first post, you're already like selling. You're like, buy this, buy this, buy this. No, you don't build trust. We built that trust because we offered value for free. And now it's coming to the point that when we sell VIPs, when we sell like other exclusive experiences, they sell out quick. Yep. And now this is why sponsors are willing to pay so much, because, we have sponsors that are paying, quite a bit. And it's because is that we gain this community that they know, like, and trust us, and they know that we build a good experience for them every time.
And what are the events like? So I love that. I think before you answer the fact that you guys didn't, one, charge, or two, try to upsell or sell anything, the longer you hold out and trying to make money off of something, the more valuable you become, or the more trust you gain. So we're aligned there for sure. But walk me through these events, like, and just a regular networking events. Are they just networking cocktail hours? Are you guys running out of place? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I'm specifically for myself, I'm the sponsor coordinator. So I handle within the sponsors being able to fund for everything that we're doing.
Right.
And the events, we start out like more 3 months before the event starts. Actually, we are like trying to just find places that can hold a lot more people.
Right.
And we are trying to expand into different areas. But coming into these events, we have like basically 7 individuals in our team. Like that's it. We don't hire anyone. We're just kind of more of like, we are all just friends, actually.
Nice.
And we all hang out besides it, but we like pick the venue. Where's the venue going to be? That's our first thing. Then after that, we find the individuals who want to sponsor the event. We've now built like our like a deck where it has our credentials, who our audience is. I think that's super important to understand who's the people that are coming onto that those events. And so
How often do you hold them?
Huh?
How often are you holding these events?
Quarterly.
Nice.
So every quarter we have these events, and it's more of a networking. We have like other experiences for VIP that after they can be able to connect in like a separate, more conversational location.
A little more exclusive.
Yeah. So it's very just more networking. And now we're coming to the point that we're going to start, actually, still hasn't like been said, but we're going to start a podcast. We're going to start have more smaller events like seminars, and have where we're going to have other individuals be able to teach and educate within our community. So now that we've built the demand, now we're going to go start having, smaller events, and also come to Miami, come to Orlando. Yeah. So there's a lot of, now we're seeing more of the bigger vision, and no matter what, I think attention is the main importance. Sure. If you have intention, then.
And they're lucky to have you on their team, because you know how to drive eyeballs for sure.
And also be very kind with sponsors, because it's like you
probably are the right person for that job.
Yeah, because if they're paying a lot, we have to make sure like because obviously they have booths there. They are also marketing, and of course. So we have to. I help with making sure they get the best ROI within it, and getting the most attention. What's going to be the ideal, and then making sure that they're happy and having a good time. That's the best way to be able to put it. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Where can I find you guys? Instagram. You guys have a website. What's the best way to follow?
Tampa Entrepreneurs.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can find us on Instagram. That's the best way. Website. There's no websites. Yeah. We don't. Yeah. That's old news, you know.
What's the website?
What's the website again? Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Oh, so funny. Yeah, I feel like first starting in entrepreneurship, you think you need a website for your brand or like, you know, for your company. For me, I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, start marketing. Like that's
100%. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
People like to play businessman or businesswoman, and it feels like if you open an LLC and build a website, you're a business owner, and you're really not. Yeah. Right, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why should a business owner work with you specifically? Because I know you have a lot of competition, but what sets you apart? Why you over anybody else? You're not on the spot at all.
No, I can name a lot. More importantly is because I actually practice what I preach. And I think that's the most important thing that needs to be set for any business owner. If you're working with someone who's doing, you know, a marketing agency and they don't even have an account, like it's a private account, they're not practicing what they're preaching. Yeah. And so I practice what I preach. My leads come from organic. Right. And two, really because I actually understand the frameworks within the scripting, sales psychology. And that's where it's going to be the game changer. Because a lot of these agencies are just recording you and say, hey, you think of what you're going to say.
Right.
Because then they are not they're not at fault for your videos doing bad. Right. And so we basically reverse engineer your entire business to understand, okay, how is this best going to attract your desired audience? Right. And we break it down to each and every month. And all these agencies just basically don't even take the time for the strategy or say that they're going to do a strategy, but more importantly, they just put it into ChatGPT to then, okay, yeah, give me some scripts. It's not even understanding the fundamentals that it's a process. Right. So it takes time, and that is what I break down. You know, for the first month, you know, we do top of funnel, or we see where you're at, right, and then we make sure that, okay, what is going to be the best way to get that end results? And not a lot of agencies actually take the importance or pay attention or actually know how to be able to do that or know how to do with scripting overall. I don't think anyone in Tampa does scripting. Yeah. Or actually knows how to gain attention. They also get the hundreds of views, and then they're like, we're going to make your account go viral.
Yeah. And the thing that I love that answer, by the way, because you're spot on, which is obviously why I personally work with you. And but what I think the biggest mistake that marketing agencies, production, they make, or even clients who are hiring these agencies make, is that everything, the paid advertising, content creation, and then producing it itself is three different things, right? There's a strategy, there's the actual execution, and then on the paid ad side, there's the technical aspect of knowing how to target, run ads, whatever the case may be. And just because you're good at one doesn't mean you're good at all three. And I live by that, because obviously, I mean, you're in my studio now. We produce a lot of content, like from a production standpoint, right? We know how to make things cinematic.
Set this up, I was telling you, I was like, I don't even know.
Get the right lighting, get the right things. But even us, we went out and we found these strategists to help us with a strategy, because it's recognizing that weakness. And I think from a business standpoint, maybe as an added expense that we take on, but we want to be the best. And I think, you know, for you to be the best, you need to have every part covered. And so that's my one, I guess, my piece of advice or my input on that topic is, I think the agencies are good for something, and depending on the client and depending on the actual agency, some of them just flat out suck. But the strategy part is important, and not everybody's good at strategy, because I have ChatGPT too. And my ChatGPT sounds just like me. Well, but it doesn't mean that it's good.
Like it's good to a certain point, but not all the time.
It's a tool, but not the strategist. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's meant to be a tool.
Yeah, and more importantly, is I doubled down. And it's because, like, I remember when I first started, like, within business, I was like, I'll do everything, you know? Yeah, like, we'll get ads, we'll do social media, we'll do, you know, your product, shoot, like, everything. And at a scalable rate, yes, that's good. But especially as a small business, when you're starting out, get good at one damn thing and scale it through the moon. So this is where it's like the insurance. I have a lot of success within that. And this is where I double down and I actually tell people, okay, no, I can't work with you. I was like, I only do content creation. I'll put you to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I rather, like, I'm only good at that. And I know that I'm only good at that. And so it's like, it is always good to understand what you're not good at and either hire somebody or just kind of
send the work. Yeah, turn it away.
Mm-hmm.
For any new business, and I mean, this is me, you probably know this, I think you know this, but what I heard you just said is I got to be able to fulfill the orders that I'm taking, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't control the delivery of it, kind of like what you said about drop shipping, yeah, that's my thing too. Like a lot of the things that we do, it's almost like if I rent out the studio and somebody wants to shoot content, let's have a conversation about that first. Like, you need me to turn on the camera and record you? I can do that, you know? You want a strategy and all these other things? Okay, let's go and send it to an expert. You know, that's going to have a strategy meeting with you first. And the hardest part is recognizing that you suck at that as a business because you got into this to make money. Right. And if I have to go hire somebody to do something else because I'm not good at it, it costs money. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the brand, the being able to deliver, like we've scaled engagement in a year really quickly to a lot of clientele. Not mostly, only because we actually do a good job and because we put that first, even when it sucks. Because it's easy to talk about doing a good job if you're actually doing a good job. But if you fuck up, you got to make it up. And make it up, it's not, and I'll work for free for 3 months to make it up. No, like I've cut checks. And those clients didn't fire me. I cut them a check and they kept the check and they accepted the check and then they gave me the opportunity to show them that I could do it right. But do you know
you gave them a check?
I cut them a check for what they had paid. I fired myself. Yeah, because I ain't about to fucking lose my brand and my name and my reputation for, $5,000-$6,000. I went and I cut a check. And honestly, even in a panicky way where like the fuck ups were excused, because nobody's perfect. Yeah. And there's an excuse for everything. But I'm a big believer excuses are for those who need them. And we didn't need an excuse. I put my money where my mouth was, and this happened to me just once, but I cut a check, and then I ended up keeping the client, and the client is extremely happy and would do a really good job for them.
But and they're going to be referring you to other individuals. Yeah, it's so important that you have that, and it's like I want to build that like relationship further and further too, because it's like I just dealt with that with a mentor, and it's just like I was so unsatisfied, and he was like, "Oh, too bad." Yep. And
that's what people want. That tells you what you need to know. He was looking for a check for him. Yep. Yeah. Oh, you're not happy? Well, it's non-refundable. Sorry. Yeah. I did what I said I was going to do because I always do. I see, so obviously we've all read the marketing books of our modern day marketers and having a guarantee and all that is cool. But like, I find guarantees stupid because there's such a huge amount of like fine print in there. Like, you need to do this and exactly what to tell you. And like, bro, you're not going to give the money back. So stop lying. Like that's how I feel about guarantees personally. Like my guarantee to somebody is if I say I'm gonna give you the money back, I'm gonna give you the money back. Right. So I'm just not gonna go around telling everybody I'm gonna give them their money back because I don't want to have to be giving refunds left and right. But it's your reputation, and then when somebody says, especially if you have a guarantee, and then, well, technically I said here that I was gonna get on a call every Tuesday at 3:00 with you, and I did. So I did my part. I'm sorry that you're not satisfied. Yeah, that guy won't be whoever, guy or girl, whoever it was, it's not gonna be in business for long that way.
Yeah, he's not. Like I came to a way where it was just more of like connections. Like it doesn't even matter. You could even, if you weren't even doing that good, if you built that connection and trust, people are more likely to work with you. Yeah. Like regardless. 100%. And it's really that when it comes to like any marketing, if they like you, know you, and trust you, then they're gonna choose you further. 100%. And if you're just starting out, it could really be like you could suck, but they like you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it comes down to.
So you do like there is opportunities for anyone, but it's like if you are a shitty person,
there's nothing around that.
Yeah, there's nothing, and then you could be the smartest person. You could be the smartest person in marketing, but if you're the shittiest person, people don't want to work with you.
They'll cut you off.
They really will, because it's like honestly, like. I think really important. I'm like, I say in the very beginning, this is a collaboration. And like, if we're not working together to both be able to give the results, then you're not going to show up 100%. I'm not going to show up 100%. And this both is not going to work. And I think like what helps within what I do is like, I'm passionate with making the results. Some people don't. It's like,
Yeah, because you're not after the money. You're after doing this shit for 20, 30 years so you could actually make a lot of money.
I don't know about 20 and 30 years, but yeah. Just definitely a good exit point.
Right.
For sure.
Well, you want to be in business, whether it's this business or other types of business. Your reputation will precede you no matter where you go.
100%.
And it starts today. You know, it's almost like politics. You know, like you can run for president if you have some skeletons in your closet from 20 years ago. Same deal with business. I mean, if you fuck people over, I have a mentor, my boy Alex. Shout out to that. Not this Alex. Remember Alex Reyes? Boy said, you never fuck nobody and you never lie. Those are the 2 rules for you to be in business forever. And I was like, he's been telling me that shit for, I don't know, probably 10 years at this point.
Here's the thing, like sometimes you gotta like if your client's like, oh, you know, I look awful. I'm like, no, you look great. Don't worry about it. Like there's points you gotta like. I'm just no. Like I'm just joking. But like
they're gonna fire you. Okay. So you told the ugly person they look good.
No.
That's considered lying. That's like sparing feelings. So that's different.
Yeah.
Sparing feelings and lying is 2 different things. I think lying would be like, you know, I can deliver on this knowing damn well you cannot.
Yeah. I like think that's like
I'm with you. That's funny. All right. To recap, because we do get back to shooting content. Last question. There's millions of people that want to be content creators. And I know that you mentor several people, but let's just say that there's an 18-year-old college student from San Antonio, Texas, that is looking to create content, become a creator, and maybe down the line monetize it. What advice would you give that 18-year-old girl, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, there's the fear of perception needs to be what is worked on first, because no matter what, you have to realize you're not in it for the pleasing, and you have to realize that when you do gain traction, not everyone will like you, and that's okay. No one has to like you. I feel like whenever I was starting out, I was like people pleasing, thinking that I need everyone to kind of like me, and now it comes to the point I have a very small niche for a reason. So I always be okay that when you're posting, stop thinking what others think. Just post it. Because you have to realize is that once you see that money coming in, you may not see it now.
Right.
But once you see it, you're going to be like, okay, fine. Like when I was young, I was killing it, but people kept making fun of me.
Right.
And I want to say.
When you were young.
And I have to say that I want you to post for like 3 months with no expectation. None. What people fail at it is because in the first 3 months or, you know, first month, they have this expectation. Oh, it just didn't work out, you know, like I can't do it. You just, first 3 months, no expectation, but do it constantly. Don't feel that you need to be someone else, whoever you are, and actually just show up like yourself and not care what others think, and start there. That's it. I have to say 99% of the people, like the ones who actually start, I'm excited for them, and they're still hard on themselves. So I'm like, you're already doing like what the 99% can't be willing to do, and that's just starting. So you are that 1% of just doing it. And when you just do it, you're already going to be ahead. That's as simple. People are like, oh, I need this strategy, I need this framework. Like, yes, like obviously when you've actually, you know, kind of like built that up.
You evolve into that.
Yeah, you evolved into it, but like it's like kind of starting a business, and what you say, it's like go through that failure, because that's the only way you're going to do it. Do the action and then fail and then learn. Yeah. But people always have to, oh, I need to know this strategy and this framework. Oh, wait, this is my, and they're always trying to come up with a game plan. Yeah. And not the actual ability of doing the work.
For sure.
So that would be it. Post, then come talk to me.
Yeah, and don't give a fuck what people think, clearly.
Yeah. Well, for me, that was a big moment. Like, for me, like, I cared a lot about it, you know?
Me too.
So.
I think everybody goes through that. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to learn, or not even learn, I had to realize that who cares what people think. And the moment I realized that, I just needed to be myself. I stop caring. I say anything anywhere because I'm a singer like me, and you can't force me to do it otherwise, you know. And you answered that beautifully, Bianca. What you do at your age, I know I've told you offline, but I'll tell you online so everybody hears it. It's very impressive. I do recommend it if you want to work with her because she knows her shit, and I've worked with a lot of people. I am a bluff caller. I have to be like the easiest sales call you ever had because when I want to try something, I'm just gonna do it. And obviously, it's worked out, and I'm a repeat customer. So, goes to show you know what you're talking about. So, kudos to you. Congrats on your success, and obviously, can't wait to see where you go from here.